You're looking for a coffee maker that won't make you second-guess every cup, that slides into your morning routine without demanding a PhD in espresso engineering, and that actually feels like a good bang for the buck. The hesitation most of us feel before pulling the trigger on an automatic machine is simple. Will it be reliable enough to survive daily use, easy enough to keep clean, and flexible enough that my kids can still make a latte without breaking anything? If you've ever bought a high-tech appliance that sounded amazing on paper, but ended up gathering dust, you know the risk of choosing the wrong thing. That's why I'm breaking down the Jura E8 in plain talk terms, no glossy spec sheet, just what matters after you flip the switch. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Jura E8 is positioned as a one-button solution for everything from a classic espresso to a caramel macchiato. The promise is that the machine does the grinding, dosing, tamping, brewing, and milk frothing automatically, all while displaying each step on a 3.5-inch color screen. In practice, the biggest win is how the machine handles the grinding and brewing cycle. You load a bean hopper, set the strength you like, and the grinder delivers fresh grounds for each drink. I've tried a few other bean-to-cup models where the grinder either clogs or produces uneven grinds, and the Jura's built-in grinder feels consistently smooth. That translates to a noticeably richer crema on an espresso and a more balanced flavor on a lungo, without you having to measure anything. The daily usability factor hinges on two things: how quickly the machine can produce a drink, and how much effort you need to keep it clean. The E8 heats up in about 30 seconds, a respectable time for a machine that maintains a stable brewing temperature. Once it's ready, the first cup comes out in roughly a minute, which is fine for a single user, but can feel a little slow if you're feeding a small office of 3 or 4 people each morning. The real convenience shows up with the one-touch specialty buttons. You press cappuccino, and the machine pulls the espresso, textures the milk, and pours all without you having to fiddle with a separate frother. For families with kids who want a hot chocolate, or a simple coffee, you can switch the bean hopper for a pre-ground option, so the machine still delivers a decent cup even when you're out of beans. Maintenance is where many automatic machines trip up, but Jura has tried to make it as painless as possible. The E8 comes with an integrated cleaning program that runs automatically after a set number of drinks. You just have to pop in the cleaning tablet, and the machine does the rest, flushing the brew group and rinsing the milk circuit. The brew group itself is removable, which is a nice touch if you ever need to give it a deeper hand wash. In my experience, the biggest hidden trade-off is the frequency of descaling. If you have hard water, you'll need to run the descaling cycle every 2 months to keep the pressure stable. Otherwise, you might notice a subtle drop in extraction quality. That's not a deal breaker, just something to slot into your maintenance calendar. Now, who should actually consider the Jura E8? If you're a coffee enthusiast who enjoys experimenting with different drinks, think ristretto, flat white, and seasonal flavored lattes, and you want the convenience of a machine that handles the technical steps for you, this is a solid match. It also fits well in households where multiple people want different drinks without each person learning the intricacies of tamping and milk frothing. The sleek piano black finish blends nicely into modern kitchens, and the intuitive interface means you won't be stuck reading a manual for 10 minutes before making your first espresso. On the flip side, the E8 isn't the best pick for a few specific scenarios. If your budget is tighter than $2,000, you'll find cheaper bean-to-cup models that can still make decent coffee, though they may lack the refined milk system and the polished display. Also, if you're a purist who enjoys manually pulling shots and dialing in grind size by hand, you might feel constrained by the one-button approach. The machine does a great job, but it doesn't let you tweak variables like brew pressure or pre-infusion time. Finally, if you live in a dorm or a very small apartment where counter space is at a premium, the E8's footprint, roughly the size of a small microwave, could be a limiting factor. Let's talk about the practical strengths that show up in everyday life. The first is consistency. After the initial learning curve of programming your preferred strength and milk texture, the machine reproduces that exact drink every single time. That's a big win for anyone who wants to avoid the good one, bad one roller coaster you sometimes get with manual espresso makers. Second, the milk system produces a velvety microfoam that holds up well for latte art, which is something many mid-range machines struggle with. Third, the design is genuinely user-friendly. The touch